A massive thank you to Annoying Melon, Mario, David, Eric and Anthony for subscribing to the channel. If you want to be featured in these clips, make sure you subscribe down below. Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back with round 4 of season 3 of the F1 2021 My Team Career Mode. Yesterday we're here back ready for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out yesterday's video from Monaco, it went live before the Belgian Grand Prix. At the time of recording this, the Belgian Grand Prix hasn't happened yet, so I can't talk about that in this video. But yeah, of course, if you did miss out yesterday's race from Monaco, I would definitely recommend going back and checking out. Obviously, if you were a bit late to the upload, you might have missed it. But fingers crossed, as we head to Baku this weekend, we can try and maintain the strong momentum that we seem to have found over the last couple of races there. Obviously, Bahrain wasn't quite the Grand Prix we needed to start the year. But since then, we've done all right. Obviously, scored our first points back at Spain in race 2. And then, of course, last time out, managed to get our first podium of the year there, finishing P2 in the Monaco Grand Prix as well there. Currently, Yuki Tsunoda still leads the Drivers' World Championship, 1 point ahead of Daniel Ricciardo there, with Hamilton, Leclerc and Norris waiting in the wings. We are currently P7 constructors-wise, but P5 as well, as JB sat currently in 12th place overall as well there. But Baku this weekend, of course, was the track where we took our very first Formula 1 Grand Prix victory last season out as well there. So fingers crossed as we head into this weekend, we can try and have some similar luck as well. Now, at the moment, we desperately need to try and continue upgrading our facilities. We don't have enough to go with a... We need to upgrade chassis parts, basically, is the key at the moment. But a rear wing end plate drag upgrade will certainly be very useful. That should come ready for the French Grand Prix in a couple of weekends' time there. We have pretty much got all the aero upgrades now on the car, though. Only a couple more to go there. But yeah, like I said, we need to get the facility upgrades on so we can get some more chassis upgrades on the car as well. So plenty going on behind the scenes. Let's dive in to Baku. So heading back to Baku then, ready for free practice. Of course, obviously a lot of happy memories here from last season. Fingers crossed this weekend we can have some similar good form like we saw at Monaco last time round. I'm really hoping.
Watch your MFD for the activation point.
Really hoping, and yeah, now we can start to try and turn up the wick, maybe look to be a championship threat by the end of the year, or at least sort of be aiming for, you know, be battling for P3 in the Constructors' Championship as well here. But we need some good consistent points early on in the year if we want to be able to hassle. A lot of green scores around the lap, but around the high-speed stuff, we really have been able to pick up a lot of purples as well. I think it's going to be the green score overall, but some good solid points nonetheless. Finishing off the final practice program, man, here with the ERS management run. Fingers crossed we can find about a second's worth of delta out of the final couple of corners here. Of course, the monstrous front straightaway here at Baku. And it looks like, yeah, we are going to be able to hit that goal still. Love to see that. We've gone with a very low aero setup this weekend. It worked well for us last year. Hopefully you can do the same now.
A job well done. We got some excellent data with that run, so come on back to the garage and I can talk you through the numbers.
Team happy with that? Let's get into qualifying. Right, well, here we are then, ready for qualifying for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. There's a threat of rain in the race tomorrow, so we'll wait and see as to what can happen there. But fingers crossed now, we just need to try and get ourselves into Q2. Now, there was a glitch back on the old F1 games where the AI, as you went through sort of more and more seasons, they would just get quicker and quicker over qualifying runs. So I think that might still be a thing on F1 2021. So I am now tweaking the AI ready for free practice, because it's kind of a bit of ridiculous that we can end up qualifying P18 or P20 like we did at Monaco last time round, and then still have the pace to battle sort of with the top 5 and everything like that. So I'm going to be tweaking the AI a little bit ready for qualifying runs, just bringing it down a couple of notches there so it's a little bit more sensible, but we'll wait and see if it balances things out. So you guys may notice as well, I've actually gone out for this first run on a set of medium compound tyres here, like some of you very wisely pointed out, and a massive thank you to all of you guys that do still comment with some tips and tricks. Yeah, there's no point going out for our first run on a set of soft tyres here whilst we just get our eye in. So fingers crossed now, more often, if we do make it through to Q2, we've got an extra set to do a run with there. Lando Norris is the 34.2. We're a little way off that, a 36.2. But again, we're on the harder rubber, and our first laps are normally never that great. Don't hit the wall, Matt. Don't hit the wall, Matt. Oh, we nudged the wall. That's fine. And now heading out then for our first run on the soft compounded tyres. Currently sat down in P17. We don't have much time though. So if we don't get this run hooked up, we might be in some trouble here in qualifying.
Fuel remaining.
That was aggressive through turn 1. Oh, don't hit the wall through turn 2. But yeah, definitely a lot quicker on these tyres. We need to probably find about a second if we want to be safe, ready for Q2. And headed out of the final couple of corners here. We are going to find about that 1 second. Like I said, that hopefully should see us through into Q2 here. And of course that means, with a bit of luck, so we don't do anything stupid out the final corner, we will find that 1 second and make it through with a bit of luck, using just 1 set of the soft compound tyres here, which is absolutely critical. Make sure we don't go over that white line as we head towards the flag. It's going to be a 35.2, which leaves us P5 at the end of the second runs there. That should be good. And at the end of Q1, then Hamilton goes fastest on a 33.8 there, half a second clear of Lando Norris. Seems to be quite a wide field spread this weekend, though. We, for the first time, though, go quicker than our teammate Jenson Button here, but definitely feel like 34s are possible. Hamilton 1.1 seconds quicker than his teammate Yuki Tsunoda at the end of Q1 there. No major surprises, though. You got Latifi, Zhou, Alphas and Haas out in Q1 here for the Grand Prix. Aston Martin seem to be struggling a little bit as well, though. But Bottas 11th in the Williams. Could he be on for more points this weekend? Let's get into Q2. I'll be honest, our first run in our second run even, I should say, in Q1 did feel pretty good here. So as long as we can get close to that, or maybe just down into the 34s, I'll be pretty happy with the time. More worried about that than where we end up here in Q2. Definitely feel like Q3 is a possibility, though, this weekend. There is a little bit early on the brakes through turn 1. Means we can't roll on the power as well as I would have liked. I want to avoid a lot of the curbs around here. We just skimmed the curb through turn 2, and that threw us out towards the outside wall. Got away with it, though, this time around as we cycle back up well over 200 miles an hour again. But yeah, we've just got to try and keep it clean, tidy, hooked up, brake at the 100-metre board. Oh, they've really opened up the corners. Well, really pushing to the absolute limits on this first run in Q2. We're giving it absolutely everything on the table. And if this lap isn't close to 34, I don't know what more we're going to be able to do in our second run here. Luckily, of course, we have got the extra set of the soft compound tyres. And if we do make it through to Q3, of course, you get given the extra one by Pirelli as well here. But as we head back down towards the start-finish line, you slowly watch the clock tick by. Verstappen on a 35.6. We set a 34.9. Fastest.
That was the fastest lap.
Fastest at the moment with a bit of an asterisk there. Everyone else, for some reason, has gone out on mediums. But if that sees us through into Q3, that would be grand. Well, like I said, the threat of rain is real for the race. So whether these guys have gone mediums to try and make it through to that wet patch in the Grand Prix, we just don't know when it's going to arrive. However, I do not want to run the risk and get relegated here in Q2. We saw what happened last time around at Monaco, where everyone went faster on their second runs, leaving us out. But yeah, I do not want that to happen here. Whether we're going to be able to find any more time, there's a very different question there. It's instantly Charles Leclerc 34.4. That's just how much pace a lot of these guys still have. Yeah, a couple of small mistakes on this second run there have left us a few tenths down, but still currently sat in P2, so that should be good enough to see us through into Q3 there. Perez splitting the Mercs there, but on a set of soft compound tyres, so maybe still there are a couple of guys that are under threat of going out in Q2 here, but we should be on for our first Q3 appearance of the year. You'd love to see that. Well, there we go then, for the first time in Formula 1, both 2-2 Motorsport cars into Q3, or at the very least the first time this season there, but Hamilton, Tsunoda, both McLaren, Sainz as well, all on the medium compound tyres, making it through into Q3, so a bit of a split strategy at the end of the day. There, Sainz and Ricciardo actually tied on lap time as well there, so those guys are obviously going to be mighty fast in Q3, so I think realistically we're probably going to be battling out with the Red Bulls here. Let's dive into that final session. Right, well, we have left it super late to go out for our final run in Q3 here. Daniel Ricciardo in the McLaren, a 33.7 though at this stage of the session. Definitely still feel like we can get close to our teammate Jenson Button, and maybe obviously the Red Bulls as well there. Hamilton a 33.6 though, but we need to absolutely hook up this one-shot run here in Q3, practically braking at the curb through turn 1. They're so late on the brakes and so early on the throttle. This thing is finally starting to come alive in the world of Formula 1 there. No drama through turn 2 as well. We've got, I think, one of the Ferraris just in front of us here, so hopefully they get out of the way, unless it's our teammate Jenson Button as well here. It is Charles Leclerc currently sat in P6, and just getting a little bit of dirty air from the Ferrari in front of us there. Please, Charles, move out of the way. in this qualifying run. I don't think he's on a lap there. You can see the LED on the back of his car flashing, so clearly he's harvesting energy at the moment, but nothing we can do. Trying to attack too much.
That was a big one. Confirm you're okay, please.
Charles Leclerc just getting in the way there, getting desperate to try and claw back some of the lap time we'd already lost over the course of the lap here, and you can just see as we head through, left it I think one gear too high on the way in there, tried to carry too much throttle, just got it caught over the curb, tried to keep our foot in, and it's only P10 for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix there. That's a bit gutting, but still, we can definitely score points.
Good afternoon and welcome to Baku. This was the arena, if you think back to 2017, of one of the most eventful races of modern history, with controversy behind the safety car, last-second overtakes, and a historic podium for Williams and for Lance Stroll. So let's find out what lies in store for us this year. It's time for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. With 20 turns and a length of 3.7 miles, Baku City Circuit in the heart of the Azerbaijan capital is a real test of a driver's endurance, patience and precision. 90-degree corners through Sector 1 lead into a tightening uphill sprint as we start to circle around the old city. Then a 1.4-mile chase flat out through Sector 3 towards the finish line. It's race day yet again, and joining me for a chat, Anthony Davidson. And our racers are certainly in for a rough day today. What will you be watching for as they go down into turn 1?
Well, the start of the race is always one of the most nerve-wracking parts. You have to hope that everyone is able to get off to a clean start, and this is possibly the trickiest part of the entire race. So many drivers in such a small space, and finding your braking point into turn 1 as well. It's a testament to the driver's skill that there aren't more incidents.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday and will start from pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Ricciardo, Sainz, Yuki Tsunoda and Leclerc, Verstappen, Perez, Button and Mr. Monaco, Stroll, Russell, Esteban Ocon and Gasly, Bottas, Latifi, and Guan Yu Zhou, and Christian Lundgaard, Giovinazzi, Mick Schumacher, Schwartzman, and Nikita Mazepin. And now it's time to head down to the track.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
Right, well here we are then, ready on the grid for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and the threat of rain is meant to be coming rather late in the race here today, though I think the strategy will just be get those softs off the car as late as possible, get onto the mediums, and then really try and drag them out to the wet period, but of course things may change rather quickly around this track today. I don't think there's ever been a wet race here in Baku as well there. So fingers crossed it's not too chaotic and carnage. We're running quite a low aero setup. In fact, saying that, I'm going to up the front wing by 1 click, ready for this Grand Prix there, just so when the rain does come, we have got a little bit more on the front end as well here. But starting alongside our teammate for the first time this year, definitely feel like we've made some good progress with the car as well. Let's dive in to the Monaco Grand Prix. We've got both Red Bulls just in front, both Astons just behind on hards, trying to go long, 5 red lights. And it's lights out, and away we go. Off to a poor start there as we head down towards turn 1. We'll keep the front wing up the inside of the Aston Martin there as Verstappen's made progress. Perez has gone backwards, though, off the start of the Grand Prix. That big lock-up from Sergio, so we'll send it up the inside through turn 2, and we will make the move work there. And now up into P9 off the start of this Grand Prix there. Of course, Lando Norris on pole position for this one. A mega lap at the end of Q3 there. We must have missed that, obviously, after we made our mistake. But yeah, both Button and myself then moving up the order off the start of this Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc and Perez dropping back there as Verstappen makes places as well. But a decent little start. Seems to have not been too many dramatics up and down the order. But yeah, that's what we like to see. Come towards the end of lap 1, though. We'll have to wait and see what the top end speed is like in comparison to Charles Leclerc. Of course, we have lost a bit of the top end from qualifying, but we've got a little bit more pointiness as well through the front end of the car as we head through the final chicane. They're still getting a little bit loose and lively out of that final corner, but we are gaining a little bit on the Ferrari in front of us here. Still got a pretty good car down the straightaways there. Lando Norris leads at the end of lap 1 ahead of Hamilton there. I think the top 5 have remained unchanged. Just Tsunoda still obviously championship leader, sat in P5. Has been a bit lucky in the Grand Prix early on this year there. Him and Ricciardo have definitely been the more consistent of the McLaren and Mercedes lineups, but I think that's going to be a battle that rages on all year. We've got carnage at the back though. What's happened between the Haas on board then with Mick Schumacher? You can see 3 wide ahead of him as they head down towards turn 1 there. Does one of them get turned? Oh, Schwartzman left with nowhere to go, loses the wheel. And Mick Schumacher, yeah, left with nowhere to go, decides to do whatever that is. Back down the straightaway. Let's have a look from Schwartzman's POV. Having a look then from Schwartzman's point of view, you can see the Haas car still so slow there. He's got Mazepin going around the outside down towards turn 1 there. Gio up the inside, just tangles with Gio. And that is such low speed to rip the wheel off. But yeah, the Haas car's getting caught together there, and poor Mick Schumacher nowhere to go. I think that's brought out a safety car. Heading out the final couple of corners here. No question yet about what is happening with the weather later on, but I'm actually going to dive it in.
Right, come in at the end of this lap.
And go on a set of the medium compound tyres here, just so we're a bit more in line with most of the other cars in this Grand Prix. I think JB is going to dive it in, as well as Charles Leclerc just in front of us here. That is definitely not correct pit lane protocol by a lot of those guys, but yeah, we're going to put all our eggs in one basket. Going on to set the medium tyres here. Not too sure if JB's going to go mediums or hards there. Verstappen's gone mediums. Charles Leclerc looks to be going mediums as well there. What is our teammate JB going to be going on to? I would have thought mediums as well, yeah. So medium tyres for our teammate. We're also going to be onto the medium tyres as well here, as it's going to be a mighty long hold. We are going to be last anyway, so it's not too big an issue. Come on, let us go. Yeah, we are back out in last place now of the Grand Prix.
Stay clear of the white line on the exit. We'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross over into the track.
Yeah, a little bit of drama early on, but reassuring to know we have done the same as Red Bull. So about to start lap 5 then of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and safety car is about to come in here, and we need to start making some good progress once more in this race. We've got Perez just in front of us, and then a couple of the slower guys are Lundgaard and Mick Schumacher. So fingers crossed there's going to be some Constantine run up in a second. There you go. So that's why I don't go full throttle right then. Come on. Is it go? Are we going? I think we're going. I think we're going. There we go.
We're racing again.
So I haven't timed that too badly then off the start as we head back down towards turn 1. Lundgaard, you can't do that into a braking zone, mate. I think he didn't even spot us there in his rearview mirrors. We do make the move work though. So a cheeky double overtake down towards turn 1. Christian Lundgaard thought about it again through turn 2. But yeah, Lundgaard will leave him and Perez to squabble it out for the Wooden Spoon Award so far in this Grand Prix. We need to try and get past Mick Schumacher as well here. Up the inside, in through turn 3. Gives a big old squeeze, but fair racing from the young German there. Still stuck.
Brilliant. Nice move.
In his Haas, which is basically just a wheelie bin. But still, yeah, making good progress again. Back up into 18th. We got Charles Leclerc and Button just in front of us again. Right, despite the fact we've still got no DRS in this Grand Prix, are we going to see any moves as we head back down towards turn 1? You can see a lot of cars fanning out behind us. Perez has now got past Lundgaard and Schumacher as well, it would seem.
Gaining on the car in front. Try to keep this momentum.
Verstappen trying to have a look past Giovinazzi, who of course was part of that incident that caused the safety car. Has Verstappen pulled it off?
By around a second a lap.
No, Verstappen making it very difficult for himself, and it's allowing all of us to close up behind him. Button now trying to look past the Alfa Romeo as well, though. He might make it 3 wide. Yes, he does. As Charles Leclerc goes defensive on us. Down on the outside of Charles Leclerc there. Somehow, the 3 in front get away with no contact there. We think about making it 3 wide again there, but don't want to leave our teammate out to dry. As Gio contact with both of the 212 Motorsport cars. They're in one corner. We're going to send it up the inside of the Italian, just about giving them the room. Oh, there's more wheel-to-wheel contact there. Giovinazzi is in the waters early on in this Grand Prix. But we've now pulled off the move, and another double overtake puts us up at a P16 here. So making good progress, but that was all a bit sketchy. And finally, now on lap 7 of this Grand Prix, we have got our first taste of DRS here. Are we going to be able to get a run on our teammate Jenson Button, or are we just going to see more Constantina and up behind a lot of the slower cars? Fingers crossed we can still walk away with some points at the end of this weekend here. But are we going to be able to get a run on our teammate? We are closing in just a little bit, but don't want to just waste too much battery early on here, as we're certainly not going to be able to get close enough. 218, 219. I think miles an hour we just clipped there as we head back down towards turn 1. But now Verstappen is stuck behind Latifi and Mazepin. Can we try and get a good run out of turn 2, perhaps? Jenson definitely aware of us behind him. Of course, we've still got a long old way to go in this Grand Prix. Not going to battle him too hard at the moment. Oh, that was a bit close. There's just a huge train of cars forming there. You can see on the minimap we've got both Astons, both AlphaTauris, And then I think it's... Which car is that, actually? Not the Williams, just in front of the Williams. Perhaps no, it is, sorry, Latifi, Mazepin, and then, of course, Verstappen there. So a lot of bluish dots on the mini-map. Hopefully a couple of those teams change their colours around for next year. But yeah, we probably ought to change our dot from red to black if we're keeping this paint scheme for the rest of the campaign. But yeah, just still stuck with nowhere really to go. If it's lasts like this for a couple more laps, we might have to start looking for moves. And if Verstappen and JB aren't going to go for anything here, we certainly need to be considering it. So we head through the final chicane there. Back end still getting very, very loot and light out of that final corner there. But we finally got a couple of guys into the pits. I think that was Lando Norris and Yuki Tsunoda into the box as well then. None of this huge train of cars though diving it in, which isn't so useful for us as we get all over the back of our teammate again through turn 1. As look at that Lando Norris.
P15. We are now in P15.
Because of all this battling, oh, this is going to be a bit chaotic there as Norris and Mazepin side by side. We're now up into P15 here, but this is all getting a bit too close for comfort early on in this Grand Prix. Can we have a look past our teammate Jenson Button? Yes, we do. Oh, contact there with Max Verstappen, only very lightly though, as we do now slip past our teammate, but we cannot afford to get stuck behind these guys all day long. We need to start making some moves if they're not willing to. Mazepin, though. Yeah, now, was he? No, he was always behind Latifi here. I can't work out what's going on. Oh, no. I've just seen Gasly and Norris side by side. I think Norris has ball off the move there in the end. Side by side into turn 9. Simply would not work on F1 2021, so I think Gasly, yeah, had no choice really there but to back out. But yeah, so far though, we now need to try and look past Verstappen. The final corner, back down towards the start-finish line. Can we get a good run on Maxi Boy in this Grand Prix there? Activating the DRS in just a moment as well. Are we going to see any of these guys into the pits now as well? Of course, it looks like Mazepin will be coming in at the end of this lap as well as one of the other guys there. Verstappen, though, aware of us. Going to absolutely drain the battery, 221 miles an hour. Back down towards turn 1 there, and down around the outside of Max Verstappen there, squeezed him to the apex, and we have played him like a fiddle at this stage of the day now, up into 11th here in Baku, as we've got Latifi now in the points. Oh, Latifi struggling on his rubber there, sliding around at the top of the hill. Are we going to be able to get a run on him? As we're tucked right under the rear wing of the Williams here, down the hill we have a look. Oh, nothing happening there though. Completely locked the rears and somehow
10 to 15 minutes.
Somehow no contact there. I think that one was more stupid than brave from myself, but we do get away with it. Team now saying rain in 10 to 15 minutes. So we might get some rain towards the end here, but we're probably going to have to pit onto another set of mediums before that happens. There to feather the throttle out of the final chicane there is now all the top guys into the pits. Are we going to be able to get a run on Latifi here? Down the inside we look. As Latifi luckily not coming into the pit lane this time round, and nothing he can do to defend himself. Stroll and Gasly side by side, as we're going to get past the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz now in this Grand Prix as well. But these tyres definitely starting to go off just a little bit. I'm into 9th. Stroll on his hard tyres has done pretty well so far, and I think the safety car, of course, helped their Aston Martin team out. But he's now lost the DRS to Pierre Gasly, so surely he's going to be a bit of a sitting duck. So we head out through the final chicane there again, having to feather the throttle, just nothing we can do with all this dirty air at the moment there. Haven't overheated the tyres too badly. But yeah, Gasly into the pits there as we fly past Lance Stroll back down towards turn 1 there. We got Bottas and Ocon into the pits as well. So we're now under P5 of the Grand Prix. Yeah, both Aston Martins still running rather well in this race. Oh, we got yellow flags out. I think it's Hamilton. Hamilton might be retiring from the Grand Prix. And heartbreak for Lewis Hamilton, who was the only man challenging the McLarens here. He is out of this race at a half distance there, so that is absolutely heartbreaking for him and his title chances early on this year. But Lewis Hamilton out of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix from P2. I think the end of lap 14 here. We are going to have to box at the end of this one onto our second set of the medium compound tyres to hopefully see us through to the end of the Grand Prix. These ones are absolutely cooked there. Huge wobble again at the final couple of corners here. But obviously Hamilton's DNF has huge championship ramifications as well there. Unless something goes disastrously wrong, McLaren are looking comfortable for a 1-2 this weekend as well there. So they are going to be sitting pretty at the top of the standings. Why is Button pitted? Why have they done that? Why have we both pitted again at the same time here? That is a catastrophic mistake from the team there. I told them we weren't going to be boxing in. Well, go! 1.8 seconds stop wasted as we head back out of the pit lane. Oh, we need to stay ahead of Mazepin here, which we have just about done. But heartbreak for JP, who is going to be relegated way down the order. He has now got a lot of work to do in the second half of this race. But yeah, we now just got to try to keep our head down there. Bottas and Ocon are going to the end and are running up in the points.
Expect to see some rain about 10 to 15 minutes from now.
Team's still saying rain in 10 to 15 minutes, so maybe it won't arrive before the end. Or if it does, it might be the dying stages here in Baku. Though more top runners back into the pit lane here, so we might be able to pick up a few more places in this race. Should be close to Russell and Charles Leclerc. Maybe we can get the one-lap undercut on George Russell in this Grand Prix as well. That would be rather nice, really stamping on the brakes late into T1 there, and we have done it. So an undercut on George Russell here. We have admittedly got a bit of a faster car at the moment, but yeah, that's what we needed. He's actually got Mazepin between us as well there, so both Alpines looking good today. Verstappen into the pits as well here with just 10 laps to go, so we are going to be back up to 6th place now of the Grand Prix. So this one's definitely starting to come to us later on. Still just the question remains about that rain. Heading out the final couple of corners here, Lando Norris still setting fastest lap after fastest lap as he tries to close down on his teammate Daniel Ricciardo here, but we are closing in on Valtteri Bottas as well. The gap to Ocon coming down not quite as quickly, but it's still definitely coming down as well there, as we've got 7 laps to go here from Baku. We are definitely still available for some more points. Oh, team still saying rain soon then here in Baku. 5 minutes time they now reckon, as hopefully now we're going to be close enough to Bottas to go for something. Rubbing the wheels down the side of the wall there is not going to help us out all too much, as George Russell is still taking a little bit of time out of us at this stage of the Grand Prix as well here. But can we get a good run on Bottas through the final chicane here? Surely with the DRS and the much slower Williams car anyway, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion before we get to him. But still, tuck into the slipstream, activate the DRS there. What's the speedo climb? 220 miles an hour. So we head back down towards turn 1 there, and we're clean ahead of him before we even get to the braking zone.
Good job, nice overtake.
Team happy with that one. Ocon now less than 2 up the road. Right, it's only taken us 1 lap, but we should be within DRS range of Esteban Ocon now in this Grand Prix. Alpine have had a rough start to the year. They've had a rough time, to be honest, throughout the entirety of this series up to now, but this weekend they seem to have found a little bit more in their car there. I don't think we're going to get close enough back down towards turn 1.
You're catching the car ahead, but remember, we need to get to the end of the race on these tyres.
Oh, car's definitely getting a little bit more slippery though. But yeah, team just warning us about the tyres as well. There, we should be able to get a run on him out of turn 2.
Some breathing space between you and the car behind by a few seconds per lap.
Not too sure why we care about that at the moment, Jeff, but to the outside of Esteban Ocon here. Slam on the brakes. Oh, Ocon keeps the nose there. Certainly don't want to make it easy for us, but we do go right around the outside. Now, I'm into P4 of the Grand Prix. Sainz, though, 7 seconds up the road. It's going to be a tall order to close at the him with 4.5 laps remaining. So I think this might be all we can get here, but still got to wait for that rain. I'll be honest with you guys, with 4 laps to go here, depending on what happens in the rain, this might not be over between myself and Carlos Sainz. We're taking a good 1.2 a lap out of him.
4.8 seconds.
4.2, we're taking 1.2 a lap out of him. By the final lap of this Grand Prix, the gap would be about 0 as we cross the line there. In fact, mathematically, it could be setting itself up to be a perfect end to this Azerbaijan Grand Prix, but we've got to keep the tyres in good shape. Oh, now we're just starting to get a little couple of spits of rain on the circuit there. You can see it on the halo as well. We're just a few laps to go here from Baku. We're still taking time out of Sainz, though. But what is this rain going to do? Surely it'll affect the hard runners more, because obviously they got less grip on their rubber, but you never know. 3 to go here from Baku then, and the gap to Sainz does seem to be neutralising just a little bit here. But anything can happen when the track starts getting a bit damp at the end of a Grand Prix like this, because if you make a mistake here, if you snag a brake, there is nowhere to hide and you are going straight into a wall. I found that out the hard way back when I used to league race as well, which we'll be turning very, very soon actually.
4.0 seconds.
But yeah, AOR, I think it was season 14, leading the race onto the final lap there, just snagged the brake down in towards turn 2 and went from 1st to 4th. On the final lap as I had to do a 3-point turn. That was well and truly heartbreaking and would have been my 2nd race win in a row in that league, but hopefully we won't make the same mistake today. Well, one lap to go then in this Grand Prix, and we are now definitely starting to go into limp home mode at this stage of the day. There's a big battle going on for the lead though. Lando Norris has caught up to Daniel Ricciardo here on the final lap, obviously on much fresher rubber, and I think he's pulled it off there. Ricciardo, like he's standing still there, and with one lap to go with this Grand Prix, Lando Norris takes the lead. It will still be, unless something chaotic happens, a McLaren 1-2 in the Grand Prix. It will also be the first time, if my maths is correct, since 2012 that McLaren led both world titles at any given point in Formula 1 as well. Obviously led the Constructors back in 2014 after the opening Grand Prix, as we are all over the road. And obviously led the Drivers' Championship way back in 2012 as well, but haven't led them both at any point in this series. I don't think they've led either title at any point so far in this series as well, but it is going to be Daniel Ricciardo that takes the lead of the championship.
Now disabled DRS. DRS is now disabled.
Absolutely tiptoeing though down in towards the final couple of corners of this Grand Prix. Lando Norris is going to take home the race victory here, but we have got so little grip left on these soft compound tyres. They're 5th gear, and we're just sliding all over the place. Through the final chicane we go. We just need to thread the needle through here. Get on the throttle on the exit there. George Russell might get a bit of a run on us here as we head down towards the start-finish line. We're going to have to use all the battery. Here comes Charles Leclerc as well. But we are just about going to hold on for P4 at the end of the day. You love to see that.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
It's never an easy race here in Azerbaijan. There's drama around every corner, but they've come through to take a brilliant win here today. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
It was a question of right place, right time today. We were looking at an entirely different race before the safety car came out, but they were able to take full advantage after the field had been bunched up.
As the winners make their way up to the podium, one can only imagine the celebrations that will take place at McLaren tonight. Congratulations to everyone on the team, securing the win and proving they're a force to be reckoned with out on the track. And with that performance, Daniel Ricciardo takes his place as the new Drivers' Championship leader. Let's see how the drivers' standings have changed. Now, let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for Driver of the Day?
I have to give it to Mr. Monaco. There was a lot going on all down the field, but they were the only one who I really felt maximised their potential.
It's time to check out the Constructors' standings. McLaren supplant the previous leaders, taking control of the championship. Meanwhile, good work from the owner-drivers team this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. Well, that was certainly an incredible weekend of racing. Be sure to join myself and Ant for more exciting Formula 1 action soon.
Well, there we are then, guys. The end of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and it is McLaren firmly at the top of the Formula 1 world there. Take home the race victory, Lando Norris. Ricciardo takes the lead of the Drivers' Championship, and the 44 points means they are miles ahead now of Mercedes as well there after Hamilton's engine failure and Tsunoda's disaster race, finishing down in P12 there. Carlos Sainz, a very quiet but consistent P3 there. He was quick all weekend and really did, deserve to come away with some silverware there. 12th to 4th for us on the two-stop strategy. We did make that stop work as well there. Made the safety car to our advantage there, but only just ahead of George Russell, who on the hard to mediums there almost had us at the end of the Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc right there. Verstappen in 7th ahead of Ocon, and Bottas still scoring points as well at the end of the day there. I'd argue Russell or Bottas probably deserved driver of the day more than myself in the end there. Stroll gets the final points as well, meaning Aston Martin get a double points haul at the end of the Grand Prix there, finishing just ahead of our teammate Button. Like we said, Tsunoda down in 12th there. Perez as well, a disappointment down in P13, and you can see the rest of your finishes there. Mazepin fell out the top 10, both AlphaTauris, the Haas of Mick Schumacher, and then both Alfa Romeos there. We're just Hamilton and Schwartzman not making it to the checkered flag there. Championship-wise, Ricciardo at top though, 69 points there to Lando Norris's 60. Tsunoda third on 52 ahead of Charles Leclerc. Hamilton just 3 points ahead of ourselves now at this stage of the Grand Prix season, with two non-score finishes to his name there. We're 3 points ahead of Max Verstappen. Sainz now in 8th place there ahead of George Russell there. Bottas into double digits ahead of Perez and our teammate JB as well there. Ocon jumps Mazepin, Stroll jumps Gasly as well, and then Lundgaard gets the jump on Schwartzman at the rear of the field there. Constructors-wise, McLaren 129 points, Mercedes on 90 there, Ferrari on 68. We now tied with Red Bull as well, 42 apiece there, so maybe P4 is doable in this championship. Aston Martin get the jump on Williams. Alpine get some good points on the board as well to move ahead of AlphaTauri as well there. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, do make sure to leave a like. Get yourself subscribed as well. And yeah, we'll be back very, very soon. We're round 5 of the year. We head to Canada. You guys do not want to miss it. A massive thank you for the continued support from our channel members, featuring The Travesty, Patrick, Chuan, David, Ben, Aiden, Efstathios, Kato and Sean for their continued support on the channel. None of the videos would be possible without their support, and if you want to be featured in these clips, make sure you click the join button below.